Coop, so great game for you tonight. What's the biggest adjustment for you coming from, college into the NBA, your first season? What's some of the things that you really have to adjust to this year?
Yeah, I think just the physicality. Obviously, these are some of the greatest defenders, in the world, in the league. Obviously, Kawhi, everybody knows what he's done. So I think just level of physicality. Everybody's super strong, super physical. I mean, it's just everybody's a grown man, so it's just, adapting to that.
Talk about that matchup with Flagg today. Like, as far as did you watch him a lot growing up as a young player? Did you take a lot from his game?
For sure. I think he's somebody that I definitely, obviously want to model my game after. As far as just playing really, really hard. Being an incredible two-way player. Playing both sides of the ball at a high level. He's done that for a long, long time.
You guys obviously shorthanded tonight. How did that impact kind of your approach in terms of scoring? And then after you got knocked out of your rhythm a little bit in the fourth quarter, how did you kind of gather yourself, settle down, and finish strong?
Yeah, I think just listening to the voices around me. Obviously, I think like you said, we've been unhealthy, had some guys knocked up and whatnot, but I think it's just having that next man up mentality, and we have a really deep, talented roster right now. So I think it's just having guys step up on individual nights. So I think that's something that we've kind of just adapted to and just figuring that out. And I think, like I said, just listening to the voices around me. AD, Kai, just being on the bench and just helping me through that, giving me advice, going down the stretch.
Cooper, talk to us about what you've seen thus far, your experience in the NBA, and what do you see that you can improve on or take advantage of against your opponents moving forward? Yeah,
I think the biggest thing that I've kind of adapted to and trying to learn how to use to my advantage. So just the spacing on the floor. Obviously that's one of the biggest changes from college to this level is just figuring out the spacing and how to kind of pick apart defenses using that spacing to our advantage. So I'm continuing to learn how to use that and use it to our team's advantage.
Cooper, what you're saying about the guys giving you advice, what have been the main themes they've been hitting on to you?
Yeah, just staying confident has been a huge thing. Obviously, it's not easy when things aren't going your way and losing a lot of games, but we play a lot of games. There's a ton more games to go, and so they've just been with me every step of the way of just keeping my confidence high and helping me. Even if it's just little things. Watching certain plays back on the bench when I come out of the game, grabbing an iPad and just dissecting certain plays, things they saw that I could have done better, and just little things like that.
Hey, Cooper, how is the spacing different in the NBA compared to college?
It's just more space. Obviously, these are the best of the best players, and when you have guys at a high level that can space the floor and shoot it, there's not as much help. There's more space in the court, so I think that's a part of it. Is just having guys out there. I mean, like Clay tonight, just came alive down the stretch for us and was just so key, just knocking down huge shots. And then when he's on like that, it just opens up lanes for everybody else.
And when you feel like you do have more space, are you like, all right, I've got more, I can drive more? Like, do you feel like that going into games, like there's more driving lanes for you or anything?
Yeah, I think that's been a big thing, is just getting downhill, making the defense collapse, and then just making the right plays out of that, whether it's, playing off two and going to finish, or, finding the corner or finding the open man.
Lauren Jones, Olympics.com right here. Cooper, so you mentioned that, you've gotten a lot of advice from your vets, but what's the single-handed, piece of advice that you've gotten from any of the NBA players currently that kind of has stuck with you?
I think something that is, it's come from a lot of different people, is just not to second guess anything. Don't second guess yourself ever. I'm here for a reason. I've gone through every step of the way and been myself. So just not to second guess myself, anytime, anywhere, and just be who I am.
Coop, you were able to connect a lot from the mid-range, but take us through the third quarter dunk that you had over Zubac.
Yeah, just another one of those plays, like I said, just getting downhill. Playing with pace, playing with poise. But sometimes, you just have to make an athletic play and just raise up over the top.
And obviously, you being the youngest player in the league, you're going to have a lot of records. But when you hear you're the second youngest to have 30 points in a game, guess what goes through your mind?
It's obviously, it's an honor. It's pretty cool to be in this position, and I just feel blessed, just to, have this opportunity to be here in this league and play through it and, be able to do things like that and, have incredible teammates and coaches around me that, will put me in positions to do this.
Do you think of yourself as a scorer?
I see myself as an impact player. Scoring is part of impacting the game, and I think I can score the ball at a high level for sure.
Cooper, since you came into this team, there was high expectations, you being the first overall pick. Do you feel like there's more of a weight and a load on your shoulder to kind of carry this team, even though the record may show otherwise, that the expectation that come on your shoulders?
I don't feel any added pressure. I think, I feel like it's how it is. It's our team, and like I said earlier, it's each individual night could be somebody else's, and we just have guys stepping up and making plays, and being aggressive right now is obviously right for me, and that's what coach has stressed to me a lot. Is just got to be aggressive, and we'll live with some of the mistakes, but you just have to be aggressive and trust all the work. And my teammates are extremely confident in me, and I feel that. And when they're confident in me, it just it enables me to just be free out there.
Cool. First off, congrats on being the second, youngest player to, reach the milestone you did. But for me, I think that was what's been very impressive about you is how you get to your spots. At the start of the game, you got to the elbow. A lot of times you've been seeing a lot of double teams. You get into the nail where you can't send a double team to you. Then you're making the right pass and reach. You had 11 assists. Then today you have 35 and 8. For you, what's been the biggest thing that you've seen in terms of making your reads, getting to different spots, and just having a high IQ out there? And I think that's the thing that's really sticking out about you right now.
Yeah, I think a big part of that is just knowing personnel as well. Obviously you got to know certain guys' tendencies. A lot of people talk about offensive tendencies and what guys like to do, but defensive tendencies is a big part of the game as well. There's certain guys that are coming off other people to come help, and when you turn your back, and that's something that I'm going to keep getting better at. Like tonight, I thought down the third, fourth quarter, I had a bunch of careless turnovers. Just I knew they were coming. I'm turning my back, but it's got to be smarter. So those sort of things, you can just learn that, and once you get kind of elite at reading those sort of things, it just opens up a whole nother world of just being effective.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.